Meet He Qiang, the sole heir to the massive Yuanhang Group. Honestly, he's totally exhausted and wants to escape his family's suffocating golden cage. All he wants is to be an ordinary office worker and live a quiet, low-key life. But of course, there is always that one toxic female colleague who just won't leave him alone. She constantly begs him for rides home in his old, beat-up Volkswagen. To shake her off for good, he switches to a vintage bicycle instead. Everything rattles on it, except the actual bell. Naturally, the entire office starts laughing at him behind his back, calling him dirt poor. That annoying colleague takes it even further. She literally tries to humiliate him in front of everyone. But he couldn't care less. Honestly, we love an unbothered king. Because riding this exact rusty old bike is how he ends up meeting the love of his life. Everything changes when a top-tier executive from the parent group suddenly drops by their office. The entire office is bowing and scraping, but things get wild when the icy female CEO steps in. This legendary cold boss takes one look at his face and freezes on the spot. Her face goes pale. Meet He Qiang. He is 26 years old, and absolutely nobody knows he is the secret crown prince. He's the sole heir to a multi-billion-dollar empire, basically born with a silver spoon. But currently, his cover is much simpler. He's posing as a low-level employee at Qihang Technology, an obscure little subsidiary. Just a basic product specialist making a modest 8,000 yuan a month. His dad, Chairman He Jianguo, hates this. He always nags him about wasting his potential and refusing to take the throne. Why choose to suffer at the bottom? But his dad doesn't get the real reason. The guy is genuinely burnt out. Ever since graduating from Oxford, he hasn't had a break. His dad dragged him through 5 straight years of brutal executive training. His days were filled with multi-billion-dollar contracts and endless corporate politics. Every single person around him was either trying to use him or climb over him. He got completely sick of the fake smiles and constant stress. All he wants now is to quietly lie flat and enjoy some peace. So he fakes a basic resume and lands a job at this remote subsidiary. Finally, he can slack off at work, hit the gym, and actually breathe. Weekends are reserved for cooking and brewing his own rice wine. Pure heaven. To keep a low profile, he drives an old second-hand Volkswagen his mom bought in college. Parked next to the office, it looks completely unremarkable, which is exactly his goal. Honestly, we all know this peaceful, slice-of-life vibe never lasts in these stories. That's when a colleague named Wang Wei enters the picture and completely ruins his peace. She works in operations, and while she looks all right, her makeup is on another level. It literally looks like a mask. He seriously wonders if she wakes up 3 hours early just to put it on. During her very first wake, she targets him and starts making her move. She leans over his desk, asking where he lives in a super sweet voice. He just flatly replies, "West." He's not trying to have any unnecessary drama or chat with his coworkers. But she immediately claps her hands, squealing about what a crazy coincidence it is. Her eyes light up, blinking those thick layers of fake eyelashes right at him. She claims she is terrified of walking home alone.
So she asks to carpool since they are going the same way.
Qiang pulls up his map.
He scoffs immediately. It is the complete opposite direction since his house is on the far west side. His drive is a quick turn off the highway, but her place is way down south. He would have to exit early and sit in traffic for 40 minutes. That is 20 extra kilometers just to drop her off. But then she clasps her hands together. She puts on a puppy dog face. Promising him milk tea, she begs for his help. Colleagues are already watching them. Everyone is looking for office drama, and Qiang hates public scenes. He just wants peace. So he reluctantly mutters, "Fine," but at that exact moment, even if he missed her smug smirk, he knew what she was playing. This girl was definitely celebrating inside, but he sincerely hoped this would be a one-time thing. He was way too naive, and honestly, this is where she gets super annoying. Carpooling became her daily routine. Before he even packs up, she grabs her Chanel bag.
She stands right by his desk, speaking loudly.
Loudly, she announces to the whole office that she is ready. While coworkers tease them, Qiang is dying inside. He has no choice but to grab his keys and walk out.
Once inside, she comments that his car is old but spacious.
She judges his ride immediately.
He just wants to drop this princess off and drink his homemade wine. She mentions he is handsome and in great shape.
So why drive a trash car? When she mentions their manager's new BMW, Qiang grips his wheel tighter. This old Volkswagen was actually a special gift to his pregnant mother. It holds massive sentimental value, and he only drives it because he wants to live a humble life. Otherwise, it would be collecting dust in his family's luxury garage.
Personal preference, he mutters.
She tells him not to be mad, claiming he deserves better.
Using that annoying, whiny voice, she suddenly asks him to drop her off at the next intersection.
Qiang is completely confused. She claims her friend is waiting there for dinner. Quickly thanking him, she unbuckles her seatbelt. She quickly hops out and disappears into the busy crowd in her high heels. But looking through his rearview mirror, and no shot, this twist is actually crazy. She turns and gets into a black Mercedes.
Qiang keeps a straight face, turns his car around, and rejoins the traffic.
He wasted an extra 30 minutes just to give her a free ride to her dinner date. Once home, he pours himself some refreshing plum wine. Now the real planning begins. At this point, Qiang realizes it is finally time to switch up his commute. He actually loves driving. But he is completely done playing free taxi, especially for a certain manipulative, scheming woman. So he pulls out his phone
And searches a local secondhand app for a real solution.
a cheap bicycle, but the absolute last straw for him lands on a Friday. His office drops a sudden overtime notice to finish a massive project. Honestly, Qiang does not mind because going home means being alone anyway. It is all the same to him. By 9 p.m., they finally wrap things up and everyone is exhausted while packing their stuff. Naturally, his annoying colleague Wang Wei is already plotting his free ride. He shows up right at Qiang's desk saying, "You worked hard, Qiang." "Let's head out." Qiang just nods, grabs his coat, and they head to the garage. But right as he unlocks the car, Wang Wei stops him. "Wait, Qiang, I left my stuff upstairs." "Give me a second, I will go grab it real quick." Qiang watches him sprint away and takes a very long, deep breath. Trying to stay calm, he leans against his car. He scrolls through some fitness videos to pass the time, expecting a 10-minute wait. Maybe 15 at most, but 10 minutes pass. Then 20. Soon a whole half hour goes by and there is still no sign of him.
Qiang calls him, but there is no answer. Now he is low-key getting furious.
Seriously, he is not some spineless pushover. He just hates drama, but being nice does not mean people can walk all over him. He hangs up, starts the engine, and slams the gas, roaring out of the parking lot. Honestly, he does not care anymore. How Wang Wei gets home is his own problem now. Later, Qiang is relaxing in bed when he sees dozens of angry texts from Wang Wei. Each message is more aggressive than the last, asking where Qiang went. He claims he came down to find the car gone and complains about being abandoned. Bro, that is actually wild. He even tells Qiang, "If anything happens to me tonight, we are done." Qiang ignores him completely. He just blocks him on the spot. But the next day, he unblocks him. Qiang knows exactly how this works.
As long as he keeps driving his car to work, the drama will never end.
Wang Wei will eventually find another way to cause trouble, so on Monday, Qiang leaves his car. Instead, he hops onto a cheap 200 yuan bike he bought off a college graduate. It is a total vintage cruiser, and he slowly pedals his way to work. This thing is a complete squeak fest. Literally every part rattles except the bell. But honestly, he feels completely free, riding in the cool morning breeze. His mind is entirely at peace. This is the simple life he actually wants. Forget corporate politics and fake work relationships. Nobody is going to ruin his peace. But then, as he rolls up with that squeaky vintage cruiser into the main lobby, the entire office suddenly goes dead silent.
The receptionist is about to take a sip of coffee when she spots him and his ride.
She literally freezes, spilling hot coffee all over her brand new white shirt. The guy does not even wipe his mouth, his jaw dropping into a perfect O. Total disbelief. Qiang just nods. Pushing his vintage ride straight to the elevator, he waits calmly. Stairs needle him from everywhere. Awkward? A bit, but mostly a massive relief. Entering the office, the impact is instant.
Just a second ago, the room was buzzing with loud chatter.
Silence. Instantly. Everyone stops to stare at him like he is a straight-up alien. Their faces? Priceless. He completely ignores them. He parks in a corner and boots up his computer. Suddenly, a loud, dramatic sneer breaks the silence. And of course, it is Wang Wei crossing her arms. She struts over in high heels. Looking down on him, her eyes are filled with pure mockery.
She asks if he went bankrupt.
In that dead silence, everyone hears it clearly.
She snidely asks if he cannot afford gas anymore, laughing at his rusty 20-year-old piece of junk.
Did he drag it from a trash pile?
Her open contempt triggers a wave of suppressed snickers from their coworkers. Qiang calmly says he is going green. Wang Wei rolls her eyes, completely disgusted by his response. Stop faking it. She yells at him to just admit he is totally broke. Snapping that absolutely nobody ever wanted to get inside his cheap, embarrassing old Volkswagen anyway. Do not speak to me. She struts back to her desk as coworkers start whispering gossip. A guy driving that car has no future. They all agree with her, laughing at his sudden downfall. Someone chuckles about how she used to call him Big Brother Qiang, but flipped instantly. It is just reality. Who wants to be around a guy who cannot even afford a car? He just blocks out their trash talk.
Staring at the Qihang Technology logo on a screen, he smiles.
And here is the best part. This entire building and the company belong to his family. Manager Zhang, whom she keeps bragging about, was literally begging He Chang's dad for business last month. Yet here she is, calling the actual owner of the building broke? Absolutely hilarious.
Instead of getting angry, he finds this secret boss life highly entertaining.
His new commute is actually incredibly peaceful. No gridlock. Without the struggle for parking, he gets zero drama from fake coworkers. Now, Wang Wei avoids him like the plague. It is exactly what he wanted, letting him enjoy his scenic route. He now rides down a beautiful, quiet street. Towering plane trees line both sides of the path, with warm sunlight filtering beautifully through the leaves. Dappled shadows dance across the ground as the fresh scent of grass and earth fills the air.
It is honestly so therapeutic, and right along this very road,
Our main character stumbles upon an absolute hidden gem of a tiny dessert shop. It has a soft, creamy white storefront with blooming flowers lining the windowsill. The sign reads Yuchu Dessert, which sounds incredibly elegant. Captivated, he parks his bike and walks inside to find a peaceful, quiet shop. There is only a girl in a white chef uniform, busily working behind the counter with her back turned.
Her slender figure is highlighted by her long hair tied back with a simple ribbon,
showing off her pale, elegant neck while the sweet aroma of cream floats around.
Combined with freshly baked bread, it makes our rough-around-the-edges MC, who usually hates sweets, actually gulp. Just then, she turns and says, "Welcome." Seeing him, she offers a gentle, sweet smile that completely catches him off guard. In that exact moment, his world lights up, like this tiny shop is suddenly glowing. She is stunningly beautiful, but not like Wang Wei with that heavy, artificial makeup. It is a pure, effortless beauty that radiates from deep within her. She looks so gentle, with bright, sparkling eyes like a clear mountain spring. And when she smiles, two adorable dimples pop up on her cheeks. She is adorable. She softly asks what he would like. Her voice is also incredibly sweet, like a clear mountain stream. Staring at the beautiful pastries in the glass display, our guy gets hit with major choice paralysis. He is used to hearty, heavy meals, so this is totally out of his element. Feeling a bit shy, he awkwardly asks if they have any signature items. Smiling, she gently asks if it is his first time here. With curious eyes, she says, "Then you should definitely try our first snow."
It is their absolute best-selling signature cake, loved by everyone.
He happily agrees and picks a cozy seat right by the window. Before long, she walks over carrying a small, elegant white plate.
On it sits a delicate snow-white mousse cake.
It is topped with fresh blueberries, looking like little berries peeking out from the snow. It looks amazing. She softly tells him to enjoy. He takes a small bite and a refreshing coolness immediately hits his tongue. It is silky smooth with a delicate hint of cream and fresh lemon. It melts instantly in his mouth, sweet but perfectly balanced. It is so incredibly delicious that he literally closes his eyes in pure bliss. A tough guy who never cared for sweets is now completely blown away by a tiny cake. Looking up, he gazes at the lovely girl, Shen Youchu. She is standing behind the bar, fully focused on frosting a brand new cake. The afternoon sun filters through the glass, wrapping her in a warm, golden glow. Honestly, this cozy, peaceful scene is just pure healing. He suddenly realizes that riding a bicycle to work was actually the best decision he made all year, and from that day on, Youchu dessert becomes his absolute favorite daily spot after work. He slowly cruises over to the shop on his classic 28-inch roadster, ordering their newest treat and enjoying his sweet escape by the window. Watching Shen Youchu bustle around her cozy shop is absolutely mesmerizing. Honestly, it beats any luxury dinner. Every time he walks in, she greets him with a warm smile. Standard order today? No, he is trying her summer breeze instead. Simple banter, great chemistry. No fake politeness here, just pure, cozy vibes that make him melt. During their chat, he finds out she runs the shop entirely by herself.
She does literally everything herself. Seeing her carry the place, he asks if it is exhausting.
She just smiles. Doing what she loves never feels like work. Wiping the tables, she shares her secret. Seeing customers smile when they eat her cakes makes it all worth it. That achievement makes her eyes literally sparkle. It is that rare, beautiful glow of someone loving their dream. It has been years since he felt this. He used to have it before corporate life slowly killed his light. The endless grind completely drained him. Shen Youchu sits down, teasingly asking why he always arrives so punctually. He tells her it is simply because her cakes are incredible. Is that the only reason? She asks.
She blinks mischievously with a tiny hint of expectation in her eyes.
This actually makes his heart skip. Hypnotized by her sweet smile, he suddenly lets a wild line slip. He says she is the real treat, and instantly regrets being so bold. What a rookie move! Shen Youchu blushes instantly, her face turning as red as an apple. She lowers her head and mutters that he is a smooth talker. She flees behind the counter, blushing furiously. Talk about adorable. Honestly, this scene is just too cute. He realizes his relaxed life is filled with beautiful moments like this. But a sudden accident changes everything. It all starts when a huge delivery of heavy baking supplies arrives. Massive 50-pound bags of flour and sugar get dumped at the entrance. There is no way she can lift them. But walking in, he sees her straining with all her might. She tries to drag a bag of flour, but her foot slips. She is about to fall. His heart stops. In a split second, he dashes forward and catches her waist. Even through her thin clothes, the sudden closeness feels electric. Slender and warm. He gently helps her stand back up. She stammeringly thanks him, her face completely flushed from the shock. Seeing her panic, he steps up to handle the heavy lifting. He effortlessly lifts a 50-pound bag. Piece of cake, he easily clears the rest in no time. In under 2 minutes, Qiang completely clears those massive bags of ingredients by the door. He neatly stacks them in the storage room. All those gym sessions were clearly not for nothing. Bro, his shredded 8-pack abs are definitely not just for show, so carrying this heavy load is basically like holding a light briefcase. He brushes the dust off his hands and steps out. He looks up and locks eyes with Shen Youchu, who is looking at him with pure admiration. You are so incredibly strong, she stammers out, completely shocked. With her looking at him like he is a total hero, he decides to tease her. He casually lifts up his t-shirt to wipe the sweat off his forehead. This is crazy! His insane, gym-sculpted abs are now on full display! Shen Youchu instantly freezes, totally staring at his abs while blushing like crazy. She quickly averts her eyes, too shy to look, while he coolly acts like it is nothing. He pulls his shirt back down, secretly loving how whipped she is right now. You are so amazing. You are literally my hero, she says. She praises him with the most wholesome, sparkling eyes you have ever seen. To thank him for the heavy lifting, she absolutely insists on buying him dinner. She locks up the shop and finally takes off her baggy chef's uniform. When she changes into a gorgeous white dress, the plot twist hits. Without her chef uniform, her figure is actually stunning. Slim, elegant, and perfectly curved.
He is low-key stunned. Together, they head over to a super classy private restaurant.
Over dinner, he learns she's an only child who was completely spoiled growing up. She was a pampered princess, but she hated the path her parents tried to force on her. Instead, she bravely opened her own dessert shop to chase her real dream. My parents were totally against it at first, but they eventually gave in, she says. She smiles happily, explaining how they are actually her biggest supporters now.
They even visit her shop several times a week to try her treats.
Seeing her glow with so much genuine happiness makes him feel a bit envious. Compared to her sweet family, his own household is a complete nightmare. She gets to live so happily while he had to literally run away for peace. She then asks him what his family does, completely unaware of his real identity. Her eyes are just filled with pure, innocent curiosity. Just a normal family, he lies, saying he is just an ordinary office worker. He hides his billionaire status because he does not want his crazy background ruining this. In front of her, he does not want to be the wealthy heir of Yuanhang Group. He just wants to be Qiang, an ordinary guy enjoying her sweet company. She just nods softly, completely trusting him without asking any more questions. Instead, she quietly places a piece of delicious braised pork right into his bowl.
She tells him to eat up since he worked so hard today.
Looking at the glistening food, his heart instantly melts. Besides his family, no one has ever cared for him like this before. Right then, a powerful, protective urge takes hold of him. He wants to protect her pure heart forever, and honestly, he wants her. Ever since that sweet flower incident, things between them have definitely shifted. A beautiful, unsaid romance starts blooming as she saves him his favorite cake. Sometimes she even quietly prepares a warm cup of milk just for him. And whenever the shop gets busy, he is always right there to back her up. He starts helping her clean up and works as a temporary cashier. He even willingly acts as her guinea pig whenever she bakes new recipes. Whether it is a delicious masterpiece or a total disaster of dark cuisine, he gladly eats everything, and soon the neighbors and regular customers
Start teasing them with people constantly asking her about him.
They keep asking if he is her boyfriend because he looks so sharp. Shen Youchu always blushes, glares at him, and whispers that they are just friends. But Qiang just smiles, choosing to neither confirm nor deny anything. He honestly loves being misunderstood and enjoys this sweet, subtle tension. One day, Qiang is helping her fix an oven with a loose wire. She crouches right next to him, staring intently at his hands. Out of nowhere, she softly tells him that his hands look really attractive. His hands are actually pretty well defined, with long, slender fingers. Thanks to years of working out, you can even see faint veins on them. He pauses mid-repair, feeling a bit flustered, and asks if she really thinks so. She nods and slowly reaches out one of her own delicate fingers. Cautiously, she pokes the back of his hand, as if testing his reaction. Then she whispers, asking what his abs feel like, voice quiet as a mosquito. Her cheeks are completely flushed red, making Qiang turn to look at her. She's startled by his quick movement, looking like a scared little rabbit. Her eyes dart around, too shy to look at him as her face burns up.
Seeing her try to flirt despite being so incredibly shy is just adorable.
He puts down his tools and quickly wipes his hands clean. Before she can pull her hand away, Qiang gently grabs it. He presses her hand directly onto his abs through his thin t-shirt. She can clearly feel every single muscle and how warm he is. Her hand immediately freezes up from the sudden heat. She is completely stunned, her eyes going wide in absolute shock. He leans in close, whispering directly into her ear so only she can hear. He whispers that she can touch them for as long as she wants. He adds that she is the only one who gets this special privilege. Her face turns completely crimson and she instantly yanks her hand back. She jumps up from the floor, stammering that she needs to check on her cakes. She runs off without looking back, her ears completely red. He watches her flee, checking his own surprisingly calm heartbeat.
He chuckles softly, totally amused by her adorable reaction.
This little rabbit is just too cute, and honestly, he cannot stand it. Even a guy who loves slacking off is ready to make a move. They just need a final push, and trust me, that moment comes very soon. His company lands a massive partnership with a French luxury brand. The entire office is in pure chaos trying to get everything ready. Wang Wei, the operations lead, is also working like crazy. Yet, he still finds time to show off in the break room. He brags about importing a super rare, expensive French luxury bag. It apparently cost him 3 months of salary, and he is flexing it. A coworker is hyping up this guy Wang Wei for throwing around some major cash. Bragging ensues. He says women just need to treat themselves. He says some people cannot even afford a car, calling them a total failure. He throws a dirty look straight at Qihang, his tone dripping with absolute disrespect. Honestly, Qiang is just getting some water and cannot be bothered with him. Arguing with a clown? Pure waste of time. But then another coworker mentions their company's new collab with a massive French brand called HL. Apparently, HL is ridiculously prestigious, and getting scouted by them would change your entire life. Basically, she thinks it is a literal golden ticket. Qiang stops. Wait, isn't HL his family's brand? He remembers they fully acquired it last year just to celebrate his parents' love. They literally used the initials of his parents, He Jianghua and Li Yuehua, to name it. It was kept super low-key, so only the top executives at Yuanhang Group even knew. The public has no clue his family owns it. Suddenly, Wang Wei snaps him back to reality, complaining that his water is spilling over. Qiang silently turns off the faucet, keeping his cool despite the annoying interruption. He ignores him, walks past. He spots the cheap-looking Youchu dessert logo on Qiang's cup and mocks him instantly. He laughs, sneering that a basic cake shop like Youchu cannot possibly have anything good. He tells Qiang to wake up and just find himself a wealthy girlfriend instead. Skip 20 years of hard work or else stay a total nobody forever. Qiang freezes, turns, freezing stare. Mind your own business, he says, but Wang Wei just keeps pushing. Disappointed look, pure drama. He says Qiang has no house and no car, asking who would genuinely love him. Maybe some clueless, naive girl might, but those insulting words really hit a nerve. Because in Qiang's heart, his girl, Shen Youchu, is absolutely sacred. She is the most precious person to him, and he will not let anyone disrespect her. He turns and walks away. He heads back to his desk, pulls out his phone. He texts Zhou Shu, who runs his family's giant business empire. Find out who is running the HL collab, he asks. He wants to know who is running the partnership between Qihang Tech and HL. CEO replies instantly. The project head is Qingyue, the Asia-Pacific Regional Director for HL. Seeing her name, instant headache. It is Qingyue, the wealthy heiress of the Gu Group, and she is persistent. Plus, she is the arranged fiancé he has been actively running from. Their grandfathers were war buddies who decided to force this marriage before they were even born. Ridiculous, right? Who still does arranged marriages? Since he returned from abroad, his dad kept nagging him to go meet her.
He wanted them to bond, but Qiang was absolutely not having it.
So he packed up, moved out, and chose a low-key lifestyle. But destiny has jokes, and this ice-cold workaholic is now heading his way. She is a legendary ice queen in the business world, despite her young age. She climbed all the way to vice president of the Gu Group before being sent to run their HL branch. Talk about built different. She is an absolute beast, our main character thinks. Just then, the office door flies open and the manager walks in looking dead serious. He tells everyone to freeze and drop their work because they just got a massive update. The big boss of HL Asia Pacific, Director Gu, is on her way to inspect their progress. He warns them to lock in because if anyone ruins this, they are getting fired immediately. Naturally, the entire office panics, with the girls immediately rushing to fix their makeup. The guys are frantically straightening their collars, desperate to impress this high-tier, legendary boss. A coworker named Wang Wei takes it to another level, pulling a full makeup kit out of his Chanel bag.
and he literally starts doing his eyebrows on the spot.
He gushes about how Director Gu is his absolute idol, gorgeous and incredibly capable. He wishes he had half her talent, especially since she is reportedly still single. She is the ultimate rich, pretty girl, and everyone is wondering who she might fall for. Meanwhile, our main character just keeps his headphones on, totally ignoring the hype and writing his code. To him, Qingyue is nothing more than a complete stranger. Just someone with absolutely zero connection to his life. 10 minutes later, things get wild. A massive commotion echoes from the lobby, and he knows the final boss has entered the building. But he does not even bother looking up. Suddenly, sharp footsteps click across the floor. They get closer and closer until they stop right beside his desk. A cold, distant scent of perfume fills the air, giving off major leave-me-alone vibes. She asks Manager Zhang if this messy setup is really how his team operates. It looks incredibly lazy. A cold, sharp voice pierces the room. That arrogant, icy tone could only belong to one person, Qingyue. The manager nervously agrees with her, promising to fix everything immediately in a totally submissive voice.
Then she points out our main character, who is the guy wearing headphones on the clock.
She asks if this is the standard at Qihang Technology, targeting him directly in front of everyone. He can literally feel every single person in the office staring at him. Calmly, he pulls off his headphones and looks up, and there she is. She is wearing a perfectly tailored black suit with her hair pinned back in an elite style. Sharp eyes, flawless makeup.
She literally radiates that intimidating Ice Queen energy from head to toe.
Bro, she is gorgeous, but she is definitely a freezing cold Ice Queen. But the moment she looks at his face, that frozen expression of hers instantly cracks. Her pupils shrink violently as she gets hit with pure disbelief. Honestly, this plot twist is insane because she is completely frozen for a split second. She quickly recovers her cold mask, but deep in her eyes, something else is flickering. She looks at him with a mix of wild emotions and asks for his name. Her voice is still icy, but if you listen closely, you can hear a slight tremor.
He calmly replies with his name, Qiang.
His tone is totally flat. She repeats the name Qiang slowly. Her eyes flicker as she asks why he is even working at this place. Our guy just rolls his eyes and does not even bother explaining. This silence completely stuns her, prompting the nervous manager to quickly jump in. He frantically explains that this guy is just a brand new product specialist in their department. He says our main character is a bit slow and begs her not to take it personally. Then he glares daggers at He Qiang, lowering his voice to deliver a stern warning. Tell President Gu you are sorry right now, but He Qiang completely ignores him. He Qiang smirks at Qingyue, saying if there is nothing else, he is going to get back to work because after all, they cannot delay the project with her company, and he heavily emphasizes those last words. Testing her reaction like this works immediately. Qingyue's face turns pale for a second. She just stares at him intensely without uttering a single word. She heads into the meeting room, kicking off a painfully long and fake presentation. Qingyue takes the head seat, radiating absolute boss energy. She tears their proposal to shreds, asking how they even dared to show her this garbage. She asks if they lost their minds and mocks Qihang Technology for having zero standards. The room is dead silent, and everyone is too terrified to even look up. But He Qiang is just chilling, nearly asleep while she talks about these so-called business secrets. Honestly, these supposedly tough project bottlenecks look like a joke to him. It is literally child's play, and with just one phone call, he could get the elite team from Yuanhang Group here in 10 minutes. They would whip up 100 flawless solutions instantly, but he has to play low-key. He literally just wants to lie flat, then right in the middle of the meeting, his phone buzzes with a sweet text from Shen Youchu. She says she made his favorite tiramisu and saved him a slice, telling him to swing by after work with a super cute emoji. He Qiang cannot help but smile, and all his annoyance instantly melts away. He replies with a simple okay, but that smile on his face? Qingyue catches it right in the middle of a rant, and her face drops. She calls him out directly, asking what is so funny and if he is mocking her. Every eye in the room locks onto him, and Wang Wei is practically grinning with joy. Waiting for him to get absolutely destroyed by the boss, Qiang calmly pockets his phone,
Stands up lazily and says he just thought of something pleasant.
Qingyue scoffed at that. The project is literally on fire. And he is daydreaming? She claims he clearly does not care about his job.
Suggesting that slacking employees with zero team spirit like him should be fired immediately.
Wang Wei immediately jumps on the bandwagon, saying Qiang is always slacking off. He is always playing games, cannot even afford a decent car, and rides a trashy bicycle to work, which completely ruins their corporate image. Bro, she says he should be fired, and Manager Zhang quickly starts nodding and bowing.
He agrees with President Gu and promises to process Qiang's termination right away.
Watching these absolute clowns put on a show is honestly hilarious to him. But right then, the meeting room doors burst open from the outside.
Walking in is Uncle Wei, the chief executive officer of Yuanhang Group. He is Qiang's father's most trusted right-hand man and basically raised him.
He is wearing a sharp custom suit with perfectly slick back hair today. Even though he is over 50, the man radiates incredibly sharp energy. His overwhelming presence makes it hard to even look at him. The room completely freezes, and Manager Chang's smug look instantly turns to pure horror. Stuttering out a welcome, he panics because Uncle Joe's power is absolute.
Honestly, Uncle Zhao is even more intimidating than the main character's dad, with just one word.
He can instantly decide the life or death of a small company like Qihang Technology. Even the arrogant Gu Qingyue freezes up. He clearly never expected to run into Uncle Joe here. He scrambles to his feet and quickly tidies his clothes. Forcing a polite smile, he says, "Uncle Joe, long time no see. What brings you here?" But the way he addresses him makes everyone in the room gasp in shock. Being able to call the legendary Chairman Joe just Uncle Joe? This guy's background must be insane. At this point, Wang Wei is looking at Gu Qingyue with pure worship in her eyes. But Uncle Zhou? He barely gives Gu Qingyue a glance and doesn't even bother saying hello. His sharp gaze sweeps across the room, and while everyone is watching in absolute shock, he walks straight toward our main character. This is getting good. He stops right in front of him and does something that literally makes everyone lose their minds. He bows deeply and respectfully. "Young master, what are you doing here?" His voice is filled with genuine worry and anxiety. He asks, if you wanted to experience normal life, you should have just told me. Why come to a tiny place like this and suffer? If the master finds out, he will definitely skin me alive. The entire room instantly goes dead silent. You could literally hear a pin drop. Everyone is completely frozen. Manager Zhang's mouth is open so wide he could swallow an egg. Cold sweat starts pouring down his face, and the smug look on Wang Wei's face completely freezes. It slowly turns into pure terror and absolute disbelief. Her face goes as pale as a sheet. Meanwhile, Gu Qingyue, that arrogant, emotionless facade of his finally cracks wide open. He stares blankly at our boy, then at Uncle Zhao bowing before him. He looks completely shattered and lost. It is like everything he built over the last 20 years has just collapsed in an instant. I love this part. Seeing their priceless expressions, our main character just sighs to himself. Well, looks like his peaceful, low-key life is officially over. Rubbing his temples, he helplessly asks, "Uncle Zhou, why are you here?" Uncle Zhao replies, "Young master, if I did not show up, these blind fools would have bullied you to death." Looking incredibly protective, Uncle Zhou suddenly spins around. His icy glare locks onto Manager Zhang and Wang Wei. "So you are the ones trying to fire our young master?" His voice is quiet, but it cuts like a freezing blade. Right through their hearts, Manager Zhang's legs instantly buckle, sending him crashing to the floor as he stammers, "Chairman Xiao? I did not know. I had no idea he was the young master." Cold sweat completely drenches his shirt, and Wang Wei is shaking like a leaf. Her lips tremble, completely speechless, looking at our boy with absolute terror and despair. She is probably losing her mind, trying to figure out how this broke guy she always humiliated is actually the heir to the massive Yuanhang Group she always dreamed of marrying into. Talk about a plot twist! Uncle Zhu sneers.
You did not know?
Does that give you the right to slander and bully a regular employee?
Is this how you run a company? The manager whimpers. I was wrong.
Director Zhao, I was really wrong. Manager Zhang is literally on the verge of kneeling and begging for mercy.
Our main character is totally done with their pathetic drama, so he grabs his phone and walks away.
He dials his dad, who immediately roars through the line, asking if the brat finally remembered to call.
His dad yells that if he does not show up soon, he is going to call the police.
Hearing his dad's booming voice on the other end, our guy calmly replies that he is fine and just handling some minor business at Qihang.
He says it casually, but his dad snaps back that Uncle Zhao already told him about this small matter. Some nobody pointed right at his nose, called him a broke loser, and even tried to get him fired. Talk about outrageous. There is no way the son of He Jiangguo is taking that kind of disrespect lying down. His dad is absolutely fuming, but our guy tells him to stop shouting. He literally cleans his ear and asks what is actually going on with that collaboration project with HL.
Turns out that spoiled girl from the Gu family insisted on using this massive project just to practice her skills.
She had zero actual talent, but massive ambition, completely ruining the entire deal. His dad was about to send Uncle Zhou to clean up her mess, completely unaware the heir himself was already there. He says he gets it, hangs up, and walks right over to stand in front of Qingyue.
She freezes, completely pale.
With blank eyes, she learns she is completely off the HL project. His tone is absolute and leaves no room for argument. He is taking over. Then, right before their eyes, he acts.
He dials the HL headquarters in France and starts speaking in flawless, fluent French.
He clearly points out several fatal loopholes in their project proposal.
He even lays out the exact solutions in less than 5 minutes.
On the other end, the global CEO of HL is being unbelievably respectful.
The CEO keeps agreeing to everything he says, acting completely humble.
Hanging up the call, he casually tosses his phone onto the desk. He looks around at the dumbfounded crowd and asks if anyone still has a problem. Ultimate final boss energy. Nobody dares to utter a single word. The entire conference room is dead silent. Our guy walks right up to Wang Wei, who shrinks back in absolute trembling terror.
With pleading eyes, Wang Wei listens as our guy asks if he remembers saying he would never amount to anything.
He stares down with an icy cold glare.
He calmly tells him that starting tomorrow, he does not need to show up for work anymore.
He pauses for a brief second, his voice completely devoid of any human warmth. From now on, every single company in the entire city doing business with the Yuanhang Group
will never hire him. He can go ahead and try if he wants.
The light instantly drains from Wang Wei's eyes, and he looks like a man whose very soul has been ripped out.
He collapses onto the floor, knowing this reality is far more painful than a quick death. The status and bright future he cared about most were completely destroyed with just one sentence. Finally, our main character turns his gaze toward Qingyue, saying that as for the two of them,
he looks her dead in the eye and tells her that their ridiculous marriage contract never actually existed in the first place.
He admits he is glad they have absolutely no connection before turning away from her pale and utterly miserable face. He grabs his coat and walks out.
He just wants to see his favorite person
and eat that sweet tiramisu he has been craving.
When he steps outside, the city lights are already turning on, but instead of heading toward the parking lot,
our billionaire heir walks straight toward his old-school vintage bicycle parked quietly in the corner.
Uncle Zhao follows close behind, looking completely hesitant as he calls out to him, calling him young master. Uncle Joe offers him a ride, but our boy just hops on his bicycle.
He tells Uncle Joe to let Grandpa know he is doing fine and to stop annoying him.
Otherwise, he is going to run away to another country and disappear forever. Dropping those final words, he starts pedaling directly into the rush hour traffic. Behind him, Uncle Joe is left sighing helplessly as our boy quickly speeds away. Riding fast, he feels an absolute wave of relief wash over him. No more hiding, pulling off a quick flex feels built different. Honestly, it feels pretty great. 10 minutes later, he pulls up right outside the dessert shop, seeing the warm lights inside. Peering through the glass, he spots Shen Youchu sitting behind the counter. She is resting her chin, staring out at the entrance.
She is clearly waiting for him, and honestly, it is too wholesome.
He pushes the door open, making the little wind chimes ring out. The second she spots him, her eyes light up completely. She literally leaps right off her chair and rushes over. With a sweet smile, she admits she thought he would not make it. He smiles, explaining that some urgent company business held him up.
He gently pats her head, and she huffs, demanding he finish the entire dessert.
Pouting cutely, she grabs a dish from the cabinet.
She brings out a small plate holding his absolute favorite tiramisu.
It even has an adorable smiley face dusted on top with cocoa.
It is clearly handmade just for him. He sits in his usual spot. Taking a huge bite, that familiar, rich, comforting taste hits him. The delicious flavor immediately washes away all his exhaustion from the day. Shen Youchu sits right across from him, resting her chin on her hands. Her eyes form sweet crescents as she asks if it is good. He smiles and says it is the best in the entire world. The compliment gets to her, making her cheeks flush a soft pink. She then asks with genuine concern if his company trouble got sorted out.
He nods, reassuring her because he does not want her to worry.
He avoids the annoying details, allowing her to sigh in pure relief. Suddenly, she remembers something and pulls a beautifully wrapped gift box from below.
She presents it to him, taking him completely by surprise.
He asks what it is, and she excitedly tells him to open it. Her eyes are filled with pure anticipation as he slowly opens it. Inside is a brand new white shirt made of incredibly soft material. The quality is amazing, and it looks exceptionally comfortable. She shyly stammers, explaining she saw him get his shirt dirty fixing the oven. So she decided to buy him this, nervously explaining her reasoning. Wringing her hands anxiously, she admits she does not know if he likes it. He stares at the shirt, completely stunned by her sweet gesture. Then he looks up at her eyes, filled with nervous hope and worry. At this point, it feels like his heart took a massive hit. A warm wave of emotion rushes over him. In his life, nobody has ever cared enough to notice such a small thing before. In fact, absolutely nobody had ever cared about the little things for Qiang like this. Or prepared a gift just for him. Only her.
She truly cherished his every single move, and right then, Qiang set down his spoon.
He stood up and walked right over to her, completely catching her off guard. As she took a step back out of pure instinct, Qiang did not let her escape. He reached out and pulled Shen Youchu straight into a tight embrace, whispering her name. His voice actually started to tremble with pure emotion as he told her he loved her.
It was not because of her cakes or her looks, he said.
He simply loved her for who she was, especially her pure kindness. He loved her beautiful innocence and the genuine passion she had for everyday life. When he asked her to be his girlfriend, Shen Youchu completely froze up in his arms. Only after a long silence did he feel two soft arms slowly wrap around his waist. Then a soft, tearful little voice muffled against his chest, saying, "Yes." And boom! They are finally together! Honestly, this is the most wholesome ship ever. Life went from a solo journey to a duo, packed with double the sweetness and warmth. He did not bother moving back to his massive villa that could fit an entire aircraft carrier. Instead, he stayed in his tiny rented apartment and kept riding his old vintage bicycle. Every single day, he would ride that bike to take Shen Youchu to work and back. In the mornings, she would hum sweet little tunes as he pedaled through the shaded paths.
She kept her hands wrapped tightly around his waist with her cheek resting against his back.
It felt so incredibly peaceful. By night, he would help her close up the bakery. They would hit the local market together and head home to cook a massive feast. Sure, they occasionally burned the food, but they still enjoyed every single bite. Later, they would cuddle on the couch watching old movies as she leaned on his shoulder. Clutched over some popcorn, she would grab his hand to wipe her tears during sad scenes.
Sometimes, while he was working out, she would secretly spy on him from the side.
The moment he looked away, she would quickly reach over and poke his abs.
Then she would giggle with pure joy like a kid who just stole some candy.
He nicknamed her Little Cake. Honestly, she was just as incredibly sweet as the actual cake she baked. Meanwhile, she called him Laogan Ma because of his obsession with wellness and brewing tea. He basically lived like a retired old man, keeping things completely simple. Their life is pure domestic bliss, but of course the toxic ex had to show up. For instance, Qingyue actually showed up at the bakery to find him one afternoon. She was not wearing her usual sharp corporate suit, opting for a casual look instead. The usual ice-cold expression she used to push everyone away was completely gone.
She looked quite exhausted as she softly asked if they could talk. Her voice sounded deeply tired, but Qiang was busy changing the flowers out front.
He did not even look back, coldly telling her they had absolutely nothing to discuss. Stuttering, she desperately tried to ask him why he was doing all of this. With a look of pure confusion, she asked why he walked away from his massive inheritance. Why choose to be a low-level worker and reject a high-status corporate queen like her? All just to be with a simple bakery girl. Hearing this, he turned around to face her.
He called her out directly, stating they had never belonged in the same world. She only cared about power, elite status, and feeling superior to everyone else.
Honestly, our guy just wanted peace, both then and now.
He pointed at Shen Youchu baking.
Total peace. A soft smile hid his face looking at her. He told the guy to get lost, then shut the door, shutting him out completely. Through the glass, he watched the man stand outside for ages. Then he finally walked away, utterly devastated. He never showed up again, and as for Wang Wei, soon some sweet office gossip reached our lead. The clown sent resumes everywhere, but got rejected instantly. No shot. He thought our guy was playing. A single word from the crown prince literally ruins lives. He basically got blacklisted and ran back home in shame. No mercy. But our lead did not care. His world was just sunshine, desserts, and beautiful cakes. Then Shen Youchu got super mysterious. She pulled out her phone to show him an album. It was an old, faded photo of two kids. A cool little boy in a tiny suit. A little girl in a princess dress holding melting ice cream. She was sobbing. The boy looked completely annoyed. And yet, he still awkwardly wiped her tears away. He froze. It looked so familiar. She asked if he remembered that old birthday banquet. Crying over a dropped ice cream? You gave her yours, she said, smiling warmly. Her eyes were shining bright, like they held actual stars. Memory unlocked. Childhood came rushing right back. Pointing at herself, she revealed she was that girl. She teased that she waited for him. For 20 whole years. He just stared in shock. Ain't no way. It was never a coincidence. It was pure destiny, and he could not hold back. He pulled her close and kissed her. Soft, sweet, and tasting just like vanilla cream. Pure perfection. The sun was shining. The gentle breeze made his simple life feel so alive. Unexpectedly sweet. This manhwa is a masterpiece.